So on a Wednesday, Tuf Shin Lamed Hey, 1975. So the Rebbe begins, Yeshnoi Klal, Yeshna Klal, there is the famous rule and principle, Poiskin B'dvar Malchus. We begin with words of the king. And which king are we referring to in our case? Shemelech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, King of Kings of Hashem, Shazo Ini B'Torah. That is, in other words, we have to begin with Hashem's words. What is Hashem's words? We begin with a topic of Torah. When it comes to a Farbrengen, a gathering, what's the idea of a Farbrengen? Farbrengen, a gathering of Chassidim, is an idea of the joy of a mitzvah. That's connected with the 15th of Av. There's no room for give and take, and searching around for hints. What topic in Torah is related to the 15th of Av? Because there is an explicit part of the Torah that deals with it, and especially deals with the simcha of it. There's an explicit and open Mishnah at the conclusion of the Gemara Tainis, that over there it speaks about the 15th of Av, and it says, there were no celebratory days for Yidden, like the 15th of Av. At the conclusion of the mitzvah, it's mentioned also the idea of the giving of the Torah, like it says that the pasuk, we've spoken about this before, Yom Chasunasa, it says, go out and see in the King Shlomo the day of his wedding. So the Chazal say, what is called the day of the wedding? Matan Torah. That's the time of the giving of the Torah. Prior to talking about Matan Torah, it also mentions the fulfillment of mitzvahs. Like it brings the pasuk Tnula mepriya dehavi halu bashar myself. In Eishes Chayil it says, you shall give to her from the fruits of her hands, and she should be praised in the gates and the important places will be praised for actions. What are considered the fruits of her hands? What is considered her actions? In other words, the fruits of her labor. That's the idea of mitzvahs and good deeds. Especially the Kesher Matan Torah in connection with the giving of the Torah. Sayamis HaMishnah Gambi in the Beis HaMikdash. The Mishnah concludes also with the Beis HaMikdash, B'yom Simchas Libo, the day of his rejoicing of his heart. Zeh binyan Beis HaMikdash, this is the building of the Beis HaMikdash, by Nasis HaShlemis, the Torah mitzvahs, then becomes the perfection of Torah mitzvah. So the next few paragraphs that Rebbe is going to talk about the idea, how even though Yidden did mitzvahs in the Midbar, but over there wasn't the complete idea of mitzvahs, and therefore the true idea of mitzvahs, begashmis is Eretz Yisrael, and therefore they're blessed also begashmis and everything that they need. And that's the point that he speaks about. And the same thing that's expressed in the fulfillment of the mitzvahs is when we have it in the Beis HaMikdash. And then he goes on to say, we skipped a few paragraphs, and like we said earlier, all of this is at the conclusion, the continuation of the Mishnah. There were no Yom Tovim for the Eden like the 15th of Av. Though it's also mentioned over there Yom Kippur, so like the Sikha that we spoke about during our previous Shir on Sunday, Yesh L'Dayik B'Seder Advarim B'Mishnah, we could examine and derive something in the order of the matters in the Mishnah. Initially, it's first mentioned the 15th of Av, and only afterwards Yom Kippur, even though you're talking about the order of the year, in the year, first Yom Kippur comes first, then comes Chamish Asar B'Av. Let's skip over to Ois base. Behesem kach, and appropriate for this, Yesh Larich Siyum on Masechtas Tainis, the Rebbe on Tu B'Av is making a Siyum on the Gemara of Tainis. Hemshel Amadur B'Shvuas Achroinim, in continuation what we spoke about in the last weeks, the Rebbe says, B'Negel Larich Sasiyum B'Tish Sayom, concerning establishing and making conclusion of Masechtas during the 9 days. And then the Rebbe says, parentheses, that the 15th of Av is connected to Tisha B'Av in the 9th days. 9 days, Kidei, Lemait, Aideza, Kol, in Yon, the Bilti Ritzuyim, to decrease through that all negative things, because the Simcha of concluding a Masechta undoes all things of negativity. According to what it says at the end of the Haftarah of Parshas Chazoyin, says that Sion will be redeemed with Mishpat, that through Torah we will be redeemed. Therefore, when you conclude a Masechta in Torah, we do that with joy. It's not, the Basim is not in such a way that it inspires him the need to rest. Oh, I finished learning, I gotta rest now because I'm so tired from toiling in Torah. Ella Adraba, just the opposite. So it's such a type of effort that it's fulfilled in him. Whoever has 100 wants 200. And therefore, whoever has 200 now, Vidal Mace, he wants 400. Whoever goes on, it's a certain tefillah they say at the end of concluding the Masechta. We're asking from Hashem that just like you helped me to conclude this Masechta, so too you should help me to begin other Masechtas and other Svarim in the plural, not just one, but many. This indicates that his Torah study is in a way of joy. When his Torah study is in a way of joy, through that, the success of the study is increased. Joy is the simple advice to success in all matters. When you do it with joy, then one is much more successful than if one does it in an approach of the opposite of joy. So therefore, when it comes to learning Torah, one should do it in a way of joy to help him out. If when it comes to any matters, in all matters, a person needs the assistance of heaven. How much more so in Torah study that the need and the assistance from heaven is much more necessary. That we need to ensure that the study in all of its detail is in a way that it's appropriate to Hashem's command. One of the general conditions to make sure that our Torah study is the way Hashem wanted us to study Torah is that the Torah study should be specifically out of joy. Just like all matters of service of Hashem, that it says you should serve Hashem out of joy, the same thing Torah study should be out of joy also. And top of all that, the Torah study should be done with joy. There is a special quality when you're concluding a Masechta, that's connected with a simple, with a literal idea of joy, wine, etc. Until the joy that nullifies the idea of fasting. Like, for example, even though that the firstborns have to fast on Erev Pesach, by participating in a siyum, they don't have to fast. Then the Rebbe says, this is emphasized at the conclusion of the tractate in the Gemara called Tainis. Every Masechta talks about many, many different topics. After all said and done, there's the name of the Masechta that indicates what is the content of this Masechta. The Torah is Baal Shem Tov, like the well-known teaching of Baal Shem Tov concerning the name that something is called in Lashon Kodesh. That is what the content and the life force and the vitality of that thing is. Specifically, the Masechta that its name is Tainis. Tainis means the fast day. Its conclusion and its end is literally about Simcha Kipshuta. Haim Mishnah. Both the Mishnah talks about the girls that would yotzis v'cholos b'kramim that would go out and dance in the vineyards. V'heim b'gemara, that also in the Gemara, Asda Kadosh Baruch Hu lasus machal tzadikim b'gan Eden. The Gemara on the Mishnah concludes with in the future Hashem is going to make a dance for a tzadikim in Gan Eden. Shecholos machal he'inin shorikad v'simcha. Dancing that the girls would dance and the Eibishter would make a dance is all idea of dance and joy. Behind this means should be seen at the conclusion of the Masechta Megalim about Torah. The Torah of truth reveals and expresses as tachlis v'amitis inyan ataynis, the purpose and the true idea behind the fast. The conclusion of Masechtas Tainis tells us what a Tainis is about. It's not a heaven forbid to torture and to materen. Again, means to materen in Yiddish, to tire out and to exhaust the Yid. Rather, it's something through which the Yidden should come to a much greater joy. That to be able to reach this greater joy, it's worthwhile even a fast. Why is that worthwhile? Because after the fast, there will be an incomparably greater joy than it would have been if without the fast. I say that the ordinary order that Hashem established in the world, which is that you have to guard your life very, very much. Therefore, a person has to eat and drink to guard the health of his body. That the body should be healthy and whole, so you should be able to serve Hashem the way it's supposed to be. But when Hashem wants us to come to a great joy, so then for a short while there's an idea of a fast. It's the opposite of eating with drink and drinking. It's in such a manner that we know its end and conclusion, skip the parentheses, it's an idea of a great joy. To such a degree is the joy so powerful, you cannot just express it with words. Rather, how are you expressing the joy, rather an idea of a dance. That's the idea of the dance. Either the dance that Hashem will make for the tzaddikim, or like in the Mishnah that they're dancing in the vineyards. It permeates even the person's feet. It's possible that a person should be joyous in his mind, in his brain. He can have his joy in feeling. Even that's connected with tears of joy. We still don't know what's going on with his feet. We see that he's dancing with his feet. This is a sign that the entire person is permeated with this joy. So now the Rebbe adds as we said before, that in the Mishnah it says that the girls would go out to dance in the vineyards. And in the end of the Gemara, it speaks about the tzaddikim, Hashem will make a dance for them. And this, there's another exact expression that could be examined over here. The difference between the conclusion of the Mishnah and the conclusion in the Gemara. Hasiyim b'Mishnah, the conclusion of the Mishnah is Yotzis v'choyos b'kramim, they're going out and dancing in the vineyards. That is the joy that they are doing on their own. They go out, the girls go out to dance in the vineyards. And this is added in the conclusion of the Gemara, but the Mishnah has an explanation, a continuation of the Mishnah. Through the fact that Yidden on their own arrive to joy. Until they go out and dance in the vineyards. By the inspiration down here below, that causes the inspiration above. Or like an expression of the Gemara, in the measure that a person measures, that's the same measure that's measured to him from above. In other words, the way the person acts down here, Hashem reflects back to him. What's the reward of someone that is dancing with simcha on his own? If he's dancing, so the simcha is measured according to his level and to his vessels and how much he can have joy. But the reward is greater than that. It's added in the joy in such a way that the Eibishter makes a dance for the tzaddikim. Now we'll skip over a little bit. This is okay. And the Rebbe goes on. Go to here. Ice hay. We might be skip around as well over here. The Hamshach Mishnah, the continuation of the Mishnah is B'cheinu Omer. So it says in the pasuk, "Tzan of Arena b'nai Tzion, go out and see the daughters of Tzion, the Melech Shloimeh and the King Shloimeh, Ba'torah Shitla Imay B'yem Chasunase, and the crown that his mother coronated him on the day of his wedding, B'yem Simchas Libay, and the day of his rejoicing of his heart. B'yem Chasunase is a Matan Torah, the day of his wedding, this is the giving of the Torah, B'yem Simchas Libay, the Binyan Beis Hamikdash Yibanu V'mheir V'meinu. The building of the Beis Hamikdash shall be rebuilt speedily in our day. Let's skip over to the paragraph afterwards. It's explained in this in the Mefarshim, just like we find concerning the shidduch of the daughters of Yerushalayim or the daughters of Yisrael. Do not look at beauty, look at family. So this is one of the things that they would say. So too it says concerning the first shidduch and the main shidduch, which is between Hashem and the Yidden. Skip the brackets. Now go out. Just like the girls go out and dance in the vineyard. Go out and see daughters of Tzion and the King Shloimeh, the Koyal Kadosh Baruch Hu, is referring to Hashem. The Melech Shashalom Shalom, the King, that is, the peace is his. In the crown that his mother coronated him the day of his wedding, this is the giving of the Torah. Matan Torah was the shidduch between the Yidden and Hashem. And the day of his rejoicing of his heart, this is the building of the Beis Hamikdash. So essentially, we're talking about not just our shidduchim, but we're talking about the shidduch between us and Hashem. Let's skip over to the next paragraph. So too here the Jewish daughters say to the Eibishter, Bacher, raise up your eyes and see. Do not look at beauty. Look at family. What does that mean? So the Yidden are saying this about themselves, to their chassan, which is Hashem. Even if temporarily we're lacking beauty, I am black because the sun has darkened me. Look at the family. What we're speaking about is children of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. This is an everlasting building, an everlasting edifice. We can't be exchanged for another nation. Since there's the giving of the Torah. That will be rebuilt speedily in our days. So therefore, eventually, it will not become, anyone will not be pushed away. So he says, let's skip over a little bit to Ois Vav. If you remember, we said that we're also talking about the tzaddikim. In the future, the Eibusher is going to make a dance for the tzaddikim, a rikud for the tzaddikim. And Hashem is going to sit amongst them in Gan Eden. And each and every one points with his finger. And he says that this is our Hashem. Like it says, he will say in that day, this is Hashem, that this is who we hoped for, and this is the one that saved us. This is the Hashem that we hoped him. We will rejoice and be happy in the salvation. There becomes a unity and an intermingling amongst all the tzaddikim. To such a degree that each one says to the other tzaddikim in the circle, and gives him from his own service and his own level. So the Rebbe is going to ask about all of this, and who's saying this, and to whom it is being said, and why did I have to say anything? So the Rebbe goes through a whole series of questions. I'll skip all the questions. I'll go straight to the answer. The point of the explanation over here. Since the statement that Hashem in the future is going to make a circle, a dance for the tzaddikim. It comes in the Gemara, in the continuation of a section of the Gemara called the Baraisa, about the different types of girls that are going out to dance. Yafyefyes, the beautiful ones, Yochoses, the ones that have yichus, pedigree, ashiris, rich ones, muchoris, those that are not so nice looking. And in moving, it's understood. Shagam b'machal tzaddikim yeshlam daled sugim. Also, in the dance amongst tzaddikim, there are these four types as well. Noim, beautiful tzaddikim, Yochosim, those that have pedigree, ashirim, rich, v'gam muchorim, and those are not so nice. Shagam heim tzaddikim, and they are also tzaddikim. Let's skip over to the next page. Move on. This is understood. Though all the tzaddikim are found with the same dance with Hashem, and everyone points with his finger. Roya kol echad inyan chodosh echaveiroi royei. Every person sees something that his fellow does not see. It says two Nevi'im do not say prophecy in the same language. They could see the same event, but each one processed it in his mind in a different style. Even when the content is the same, since this is another Navi, a different prophet, Neshama acheres, a different neshama, guf acher, a different body, harizabah etzli b'sikna acher. This comes from him in a separate, different type of way of expressing. Let's skip over to the next paragraph. So too concerning the dance of tzaddikim in Gan Eden, all are sitting in the same dance. The kulam marim be'etzbam, and all of them are pointing with the finger. In a kol echad. Each one of these four general types of tzaddikim, and every one of the 600,000 general neshamas that contain in them many multiple sub neshamas. Points with his finger. What was his hope? It says Hashem kivinu loy. So there's my hope, what I'm looking forward, and there's what another Yid has their hope and that they're looking forward. And what the resulting was, and how I was rejoicing in my simcha, and how there's someone else that's rejoicing in his simcha. So therefore, let's skip over to the next paragraph. And to this, Rashi adds the words, everybody points with his finger and he says, since he cares about another, even though the other tzaddik, the other yid, does not have a connection to his vision and his hope and his joy, because his is different and unique. Because his service is different than the other tzaddik service. He says this and he reveals it and shares it with another. That also his fellow should have the comprehension, understanding, and even in a manner of joy. In an idea that's associated with and connected with his service. Because after he reveals it to another, it's also connected with the other. So once one tzaddik reveals it to the other, so he's causing and bringing the other tzaddik to a new appreciation of simcha that the other tzaddik would not have had if not for that. Let's skip over. Third paragraph on the last page.
When he's speaking about tzaddikim, is he referring to
all tzaddikim? He said before 600,000 neshamas. All the tzaddikim, like we say, talking about all the neshamas. I call tzaddikim. Since in the Gemara it says, like it says, and he will say in that day. It's not just that the Gemara brings a pasuk, behold, this is our God, and we will rejoice and be happy with his salvation. Also from the beginning of the pasuk, Rashi says, from this we must say, when Mashiach comes, there will also be the idea of he will say, every person will share and reveal to others what he has, both in a way that's internalized and both in a way that's transcendent. A circle shows that it's makif, that it's above. And then the Rebbe concludes with a bracha, v'yiratzon sh'bi the will of Hashem, sh'bekarav mamish l'sayim is calling yon makshurim mataynis. speedily, which can include all the matters that's connected with a fast. Since these days will become transformed to happiness and rejoicing and Yom Tovim. Both the fast of the 4th month, in other words, the fast of Shavuos B'Tammuz. Both the fast of the 5th month, which is the fast of Tisha B'Av. What the fast of the 7th month, which is Tishrei, in other words, Yom Kippur. And also the fast of the 10th month, which is Asara B'Tevis, like it says in the Nevuos Zechari. When Mashukosu Besim Mishnah, where it says at the conclusion of the Mishnah, Binyan Beis Hamikdash Yibanu Imheru Amenu, the building of the Beis Hamikdash will be rebuilt speedily in our days. Yumshach Lamata B'Poyol U'Begilui will come down below in actuality, in the revealed way. Lamata Masar Tvachim below 10 handbreadths. Over there we will perform before you like the mitzvahs of your will, like it's written about us in your Torah. The tachlis hashleimus and the ultimate perfection, Bekar of Mamish soon will be as Mashiach Tzidkenu in the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu.